Hi everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to fix your Volvo V70 XC70 or even the XC90. I'm guessing from the years 2002 till about 2007. In this video I'm actually going to be showing you how to reflow solder on the components, the surface mount devices components that typically give problems to the DIM or the instrument cluster. And there are definitely other ways to reflow solder, and I'm sure if you do some search on YouTube, you'll find some other methods that may make more sense or look a little bit easier using flux paste and a soldering iron that you may feel more comfortable deploying. But I just want to show you the way that I did it, that I was able to fix my DIM. And the other thing is I want to talk about some of the people who provide this service, fixing and repairing these DIMs on YouTube. I think they provide a great service and they seem to do a great job. And some of them even provide lifetime warranty. So you may want to consider using their services. And they even replace your light bulbs back behind the instrument cluster with LED lights. That seemed to be really cool, so you might want to consider that anyway, because this fix, this DIY, is really for people who feel comfortable around electronics and feel comfortable using soldering iron, feel comfortable removing soldering iron, and things like that. Again, use this information at your own risk. There's no guarantee, obviously, and I wish you the best and good luck with your car. The other thing is, this is a lengthy video, so sit back and enjoy the video.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to go about repairing your Volvo instrument cluster, or otherwise known as DIM. This is actually from a 2002 Volvo Cross Country, I believe, Volvo S60, probably the XC90 and other models in the early 2000 range will probably have the same component. Again, on YouTube, you'll probably have seen many videos about how to go about repairing it. Some of them are uploaded by companies or individuals who actually repair them for you. And I want to say that right off the bat, I trust those folks do a great job of it, and you will be able to get a DIM back that will last you a lifetime. But in case you are wanting to tackle this by yourself, excuse me, and do it in a way that is both cost effective and hopefully effective, then hopefully this video will be helpful to you. First of all, just to give you a little bit of history of how mine progressed in terms of its deterioration. So in this section of the DIM, where you typically get the messages and also all the other information, on mine originally it began to go haywire. The text became almost pixelated and would erratically move about. Everything else was working fine except for that, and I was getting some random errors. In any case, at one point my car overheated, and I took the car to the mechanic, and when I got the car back, literally nothing was working. And given that these DIMs do experience a lot of expansion and contraction due to the heat, it made sense that that last overheating of my car probably contributed to the circuit board flexing sort of for the last time, and it basically went out completely. That means the speedometer, the tach, the fuel gauge, the temperature gauge, nothing was working. Actually, the only thing that was working was when I put my high beams on, that was working. So, so before I begin to tell you how to fix this, I want to stress that many of the videos on YouTube seem to suggest that when you are taking this out of your car, that you should just, pop it out. But my recommendation is that you disconnect your battery first before disconnecting this, because I believe you will save yourself the hassle of taking your car into the dealer or to your mechanic to have the airbag error message cleared. And I believe that's due to this DIM being removed while the battery's still plugged in. So my recommendation before you start this, before you actually go in to try to remove this out of your car, is to disconnect your battery. So that's the first thing. Then the next thing is once you take it out, you want to unscrew all the screws. I've actually removed some of them, and then I'm gonna stop this video and go to the next part with all the screws removed and access to the back. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've unscrewed the back portion of the DIM. And at this point, what you want to do is gently pry out the circuit board. And it essentially comes out by just gently prying both sides. And these two sides are connected together by a ribbon cable. But both will come out relatively easy. And I'm going to do this with one hand as I hold the camera. And you just want to be careful to pull it out gently, because on the other side, I'm going to put this aside, you will see that there's these spring connectors, and you want to be relatively careful with these, because it is possible to bend them, and that's going to become critical once you actually reinstall it and put it back together. But I want to emphasize, and a lot of people do talk about this, and websites or businesses that repair these will replace all your bulbs for you, and that's probably a good time to go and replace those. I actually found a place here in the San Francisco Bay Area called Volpar that sold them individually, and I went ahead and I replaced all of them. So if you've done some research on the internet or on YouTube, you'll find that when it comes to this issue, it's basically a situation where the soldering joints in some of these processors, microprocessors, this bottom one, this one, and that one, seem to be the culprits. And I don't know if you can see, but the typical processors, or the surface mount chips, they have this blue material all around them. But this one, number 2, and number 3 don't have the blue stuff on them anymore. And what I've actually done was, this board is actually repaired, so I'm going to be talking about how I went about repairing them. I basically took some isopropyl alcohol. I really was not able to find, I'm sure you can find it online or at a place like a Fry's Electronics, a really high concentration isopropyl alcohol. But I used what I believe was a 90% isopropyl alcohol from your local pharmacy. And basically, I began to remove the blue stuff all around it. You may have to do a little bit of scrubbing with a Q-tip, but that's all I used, was the tip of a Q-tip to remove that. Okay, so now that you've done that, then the next question is, well, how do you go about fixing the issue of these leads, or the pins on all these components having trouble? So in the next clip, I'm going to show you the tools you're going to need, as well as how to go about fixing the issue. Okay, we're back. And in this segment, I'm going to talk to you about the tools you're going to need to do this repair. Before I start, I want to provide this disclaimer. I can't honestly say that this is the best solution for fixing this problem. Again, there are companies, individuals out there who will repair this for you, and they provide lifetime warranty. And I think that's a great thing. If you have the luxury of being able to send your device out to someone and wait for a week and have them return it to you in perfect working condition, that's a great route to take. But if you don't have the luxury of doing that, whether it's a cost reason, or at least in my case, I really couldn't be without a car for a week, not being able to use my turn signals and other components of my car while this piece was being repaired, I decided to go ahead and make this repair. And I do have some experience, with soldering, with electronics. Now, granted, not extensive experience with surface mount, but I did consult a few different people and did my own research online to come up with this solution. So the pieces, and again, the disclaimer being, you are doing this at your own risk. But if you are careful, I believe that you can do this repair yourself. And hopefully if you get to the point where you do not fix it, it's still salvageable, where somebody with more experience can actually fix it for you. So the pieces that you're going to need is a piece of aluminum foil, and I'll talk about what that's needed. Obviously your screwdrivers. The big component is going to be a soldering iron. This is actually not so much a soldering iron, but a flame torch from Benzomatic. And you can find this on, in fact, I bought this from Home Depot. I provided the link for one of these. We're not going to use the soldering feature. We're going to use the feature where it's basically a torch, which basically you remove basically all the pieces and you're just left with this component. And if I can get it to start. Okay, I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me go somewhere where it's a little bit, there we go. It's a torch. And the beauty of that torch is it's fairly pointed heat source, and it's pretty hot, and it can melt solder. And I'll talk about how we use that. Second, you're gonna need the butane. And this is actually a Benzomatic butane, and this is a high quality butane that works really well with a product like this or other torches. And I do recommend that you use Benzomatic and not just any sort of butane out there for lighters and things like that. The other two pieces that you're gonna need, and again, there's probably other products out there. The first one is a rosin flux pen, and some people are fine with using paste flux, but what I like about this flux pen, it just rolls on really clean, and you can clean it up on the circuit board. And the second is what's called a conformant coat. This particular product, it comes in blue, and it sort of smells like fingernail polish, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar compounds. Basically, that protects the leads on your board once you've done the repair. So let's, I'm gonna pause this right now and then go into how we prepare ourselves for this task. Okay, so we are at step one of the repair process. Just to recap, I want to say that these are the three processors or the surface mount chips that we're going to reflow, and that's the term used for what we're going to be doing. This is 1, 2, and 3. And the technique that I'm going to show you when it comes to quote-unquote reflowing of the solder, it's really, I would say, the simplest way of doing it for, let's call it a layperson, someone who's not a surface mount technician. You're not a soldering expert, and you certainly don't have perhaps even the most sophisticated soldering tools to do what I would call a fantastic job where this will be perfect for the next 20, 30 years. In my particular case, I really just needed this to work long enough to decide what I wanted to do with this car. Again, it's a 2002 Volvo Cross Country. It has about 250,000 miles on it. And frankly, I wasn't sure how long I'm going to keep it. But I believe what I've done is going to last me a good long time. So I don't want to say that this is the best way to reflow it. It is certainly the easiest and the least problematic way to do it. And the way we start is by, let's take this chip as example. So you want to reflow this. And the first step is to take the rosin flux pen, what you'll need to do is allow the flux to flow into the tip. And once you allow it to flow, what you do is you basically, almost like a paintbrush, you paint the leads. More specifically, the landings where they're actually touching the PC board. You flow it on all sides, all four sides, and then the next thing you're going to do is go ahead and heat as best as you can into the parts where you flow the flux with this device. Now, this is where the aluminum foil comes in handy. What I did was I folded the aluminum foil a few times till I got a nice thick piece, and I used that as a shield against overheating the component itself, because you will find once you start using this torch that it does give off a lot of heat. And what I found was it was helpful was to do a quick test, and I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to show you how the test is performed so you don't burn your PC board, because that's not something you want to do. You don't want the PC board to overheat and bubble on top or destroy any of the components in the process. So I'm going to pause right now and show you. Okay, I don't know if you can kind of see this, but right now the butane is on. It's fully on. And the purpose of this exercise right now is to get you to familiarize yourself with the heat of this gun, how far away you need to be from a circuit board or from something that will melt like a solder. And I'm using a piece of solder that I already have, and I'm gonna play with it so that I'm not directing the heat on it continuously, but almost like a paintbrush, doing little strokes to see how much I need to heat up this solder, how far away I need to be from the solder itself, so that I just melt it and move it away, bring it close, move it away, bring it close, move it away, bring it close, and you'll notice how the solder begins to melt and turn almost liquid. So you don't want to bring it super close and just burn it continuously. It's really about gentle, what I would say, stroking movements, almost like you are painting the solder. So that's the trick you're going to use when you are reflowing the solder on those pins, because you don't want to keep this heat on those leads for too long. You want it just long enough so it re-liquefies the solder that's already on the board. And your flux pen, what it does is it provides just enough of the rosin and flux to allow the solder to reflow and reconnect to the leads. And that's what we want. We don't want too much heat. We don't want too little heat. So that's where doing this little practice with a piece of solder is going to come in handy and allow you to do this job without destroying the component. Okay, so now at this point, if you've gone ahead and reflowed the solder for all three surface mount processors, now's a good time to go and take this and install it in your car and see if it is working. If it is working, good job. However, as I say, don't count your chickens before the eggs are hatched. What you want to do now is drive your car for about a week with this in there. The reason for that is it'll give you at least an indication. Now, 1 week, 2 week, whatever feels right. Just drive it long enough to make you feel good that what you've done is working and that it's gonna stay. That gives the board some expansion and contraction time, heating and cooling, and will give you the warm and fuzzies that this board is gonna last a good long time. So once you feel comfortable that it is holding, what you want to do at this point is, again, make sure that all the leads are clean with isopropyl alcohol. Make sure the whole surface is clean. And what you want to do is now go back with your pen, which I will be doing in just a moment, with the overcoat pen. I chose blue. They actually come in clear colors, but I chose blue because I wanted to make sure I knew where I had applied this if in case I have to go back and redo this procedure again. So anyways, I hope that was helpful. Again, as I mentioned, this solution is not, and I repeat, I don't know whether this is the ultimate way to repair this DIM. It certainly was helpful for me. I trust that others who do this for a living do a great job. Otherwise, they wouldn't be giving you a lifetime warranty. But again, if you have some ideas that would be helpful to others who watch this video, please post it on the comment page. Again, this is my first pass, and I think it's always helpful to hear others who can provide even more information and more insight into this problem. Good luck, and I wish you the best.